Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another podcast in Traders Hub. Okay, with our set show, Traders Talk Time. So, tonight we have a very special guest joining us, Mr. James Livingstone. Okay, and not only with James being a seasoned trader, personally, I learned a lot from James. What I really appreciate is he's always open to sharing his knowledge, okay, not being selfish, being even such a great expert in the field of trading. Okay, I personally learned a lot from James. I still go to him with questions, okay, which I always get great answers from. And just to give a brief introduction about James, he has years of experience trading large caps and indexes, as well as futures and currency markets or Forex. So given the years he has been trading and looking at his success rate, he has not only honed his skills at an exceptional level, but what sets him apart is his exceptional ability to spot trends and patterns. Okay, that consistently allows him to stay ahead of the game. Like when we are pondering like where the market may make the next move, okay, he has it already mapped out. Okay, so that's an amazing ability I have seen in him, knowing him over the years. So let's get on with his keen insights on market dynamics combined with his understanding and technical analysis that what makes him such a great trader. So we will delve more on the psychological or the emotional side of trading today. And thank you once again, James, for being with us today.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Yep. So do you want to say a few words about yourself to introduce? I guess I
Yeah.
said a few.
Yeah, no, you actually you started off pretty nicely. I do appreciate the comments there. I'm always like I was telling you guys before we started recording this, I'm always here to help people. No matter where you're from, etc. If you're in the Discord that we have, our team in Alpha Trading, or Alpha Stocks Lab rather, or if you're just a random, person, I'm always down to help. So, whatever I can do. At the end of the day, we're all on this roller coaster journey that we call trading. So, I'm just all about helping. But yeah, no, I think I do appreciate the introduction there, and kind of telling people a little bit about myself. Um, I have been trading for the better part of the last, I think it's been about 4 years now, or just about 4 years myself. So I've been trading since pretty much everyone else around 2020, when COVID hit and everyone was sitting on their couch doing nothing but finding a way to make money essentially. And I came across trading, and trading ever since is kind of, I would say it's sometimes an unhealthy obsession, if you will, as far as how much screen time I spend. But ultimately, all that screen time has led me to, where I'm at right now, where I feel pretty confident in my ability. But the main gist of, this whole episode we're going over is just, the emotional side, the psychological side, like you spoke about. And I feel like, I've went through the ups and downs. I still, to this day, go through the ups and downs, as we all do. And like I said, if I can help out anyone in any way, just to help them understand it, like, we all go through this is part of the process. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing is not giving up, and keep going, because you're literally like you're right around the corner from making this happen. So yeah, that's just I guess a brief little touch on me.
Thank you,
uh
James.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. So as you mentioned, okay, that we all know about charts, about trends, about patterns, okay, but given your experience as a trader, okay, the ups and downs that you mentioned, how would you say like what are the emotional aspects of trading, right? Because like we all heard that after a certain level, trading is all psychological.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing with trading is, like, you can be like the most knowledgeable person in terms of the technicals, knowing, this EMA, that EMA, this pattern, that support resistance. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing that comes into play is when you go to hit that buy or sell button, whether you're going long or short, you need to be absolutely confident in your decision based on the analysis you did. But also, there's a level of risk that comes in, and the risk management that a lot of people, especially new traders, and even seasoned traders, go through it, where we have lapses where we have certain days, X number of days in a row where, our emotions are set, we're locked in. And then all of a sudden, boom, one day is all it takes, guys, to, lose a week's worth, a month's worth of gains. It's happened to me. It's happened to, I've talked to many people this happened to as well. And it really comes down to the emotional aspect of it. I mean, whether it's being confident in the play that you're in, the trade that you're in, based on your due diligence that you did, and being confident, not, paper handing, if you will. But at the same time, that comes down to how much did you risk? Did you put 50% of your account into one play, or did you put 5% of your account into one play? There's a big difference, and you'll be able to feel it differently when you do that. So I guess that's the part that, like, I really try to hone in, because you, like I said, you can be the best trader there is when it comes to finding these patterns, finding these technical movements. But if you can't manage your own emotions, then all that goes out the window. I mean, realistically, trading is, if you really want to put it in percentage, I'd say it's like 30% technical, 70% emotional. I mean, it is like you really gotta have your emotions in check, going into a trade.
I just can't agree more with you. I would actually put it like 80-20 if you tell me. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we're very close on that. And the two main emotions, if we break it down, James, are like fear and greed, right? So
Absolutely.
would you be going on a bit more for our listeners on that, specifically for fear and greed, how those can impact, like, and how those can become emotional challenges day in, day out, and how do you overcome those?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, definitely can be a challenge day in and day out, whether you're trading penny stocks, options, futures, forex, whatever asset you're trading, you're always going to run into the issue of greed. Greed is the one thing that a lot of us, it always pops up, and you just got to know when to kind of cool it down and stop it. The best thing that I've learned in my trading experience with greed is, once you start feeling like if you're green in your play, whether it's long or short, once you start getting that feeling of, I want a little bit more, or, well, maybe if it hits this spot, that's about where you should just call it and take profit. Because as soon as you start feeling that, that's when greed starts seeping in, and that leads you, to be, let's just say, for example, you had proper risk management, you risked like 10% max of your account on one certain play, you're up 10%, 10-15%, and then you start feeling that, well, maybe if it just hits 20%, then I'll take profits. That's when greed starts coming in. At that point, you should probably just take profit. A lot of people, myself included, sometimes we get locked up in this. You got to see that 25, 30, 50, 100%, 400% gainers. And it's just not like that all the time. These base hits, those 10, 5, 10, 15%, those add up quick. And honestly, taking those trades and taking those small gains over time will make you a more disciplined and better trader in the long run. So I highly recommend that. Now, as far as the fear aspect, again, this all kind of boils back down to the risk factor. Risk is something that a lot of people talk about, but not a lot of people follow and listen to their self with. When you go into a trade, you need to have some sort of a plan. Whether it's, I'm taking at this entry because this pullback, because of this level, the support or resistance spot. Like, you have to have an idea of why you're entering, where you're entering, and then you need an exit plan too, both if it goes opposite and when it goes, the direction you're predicting. You can't win them all, so you have to have a plan. Fear starts to come in again when that risk is off. When you start adding on additional risk, let's say it starts going in the opposite direction you're already in, so you start to average down, and then you start adding to your position, your risk gets much larger. That's when fear starts setting in, because you start to question, your plan. Was I right? Was I wrong? At that point, when you start questioning, you really should, again, just cut it, stop, walk away, reset, get back to the basics. um and really just kind of call it quits for the time being. Managing that is huge in this game. For the longevity of it, for you to last long in this, you do have to have that proper plan in place and manage the greed and fear accordingly.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, that one thing I personally figured out, like going into a trade with a plan, okay, that you know why you are going into a trade, like what you mentioned. Okay, what is your stop? What is your profit target potentially? That really helps to elevate a lot of fear. And I also appreciate the other thing that you mentioned, like, yep, if you're fearful in a trade, you should just get out of it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if make an entry and the next moment you're doubting yourself, best it to cut it at break even or to get out instead of like waiting to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because at the end of the day, you live. The saying that I kind of live by every time is, live to trade another day. You know, once you start to feel those things set in, greed or fear, just cut it. At that point, you're emotional with the trade. Cut out of it, get rid of it. Reset, walk away, go get some coffee. Go do something else. Walk around, take some fresh air, and then come back, reset, rethink. There's always another trade, whether it's that day, the next day, there will always be another trade. These
Very
gains
true.
compound.
Very true. And the other thing I really liked what you mentioned about the base hits, like taking 5% to 10% a day, that's actually a good thing to do, right? Like there are 20 trading days a month. So if I'm making 5% a day, any given month, I'm literally doubling up my capital.
Absolutely. Yeah. When people put
Yes.
it like pen to paper, like I encourage a lot of people. I did it one time where I literally took $200 and I just, multiplied it by 5% per day. And when you really look at it, you realize, excuse me, you realize that over the course of like 3 weeks or so, now I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but like your number goes from, let's just say the $200 example, you make 5% a day, 5% on the account, not 5% on 200, but 5% on the account every single day. You've just about tripled that account in a matter of 2 to 3 weeks. I believe my math is correct. And then, that just keeps compounding. You figure, a couple months later, next thing you know, your account is massive, and it all comes down to just being disciplined, and taking those compounding those gains rather. And they really add up. The biggest thing with people is they get greedy. They see other people making these huge gains, getting thousands and thousands of dollars, but the thing that they don't understand is they're at a different point in their trading career. Not only are they at a different point, but they most likely have a different size capital that they're working
True.
with. You'll get there. Everyone will get there one day if you follow the rules and keep your plan, intact.
Thank you, James, for elaborating on that. Okay, so moving on to our next topic. I'm sure, like every other trader, there are lots of bumps in your road. Okay, and we do hope that it's not regular, but still, sometimes you do take losses, right? How do
Absolutely.
you manage those losses? Okay, because losses can be extremely emotionally challenging, especially if there is a big drawdown on your entire portfolio. So, do you have any advices for our listeners on how to manage their emotions when facing losses? Okay, and how to maintain discipline, especially in the face of big loss?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The biggest thing that I can recommend is if you take a pretty big hit on your account, let's just say, the plan goes out the window, you're managing a $5,000 account. Next thing you know, you take a trade and it just starts going south. You average down, you average down, you average down, or vice versa, the position you're in, or going for, let's just say you keep averaging down, and next thing your account, you just took a $4,000 hit. You lost 80% in one day, one trading session. The biggest thing that I can recommend, and the thing that I've done in the past when I've had huge losses, is just take a break. I mean, honestly, like all things trading related, keep an eye. You can still keep an eye on the market daily in terms of, or every other day, and just see where the market's at, in terms of SPY, QQQ, all the indices, et cetera, just to keep an eye on where the market's headed and have an idea, still be part of the game, if you will. But you really, at that point, when you take a loss like that, you should take a break. and I mean like a decent break, like at least a 2 to 3 week break, in my opinion. That allows the brain to reset, allows you to get your emotions in check. The biggest thing I can recommend really is just taking a break. Take a break from trading, go do something else. Enjoy life for a little bit, and then come back when you feel like you're ready. Come back when you feel like you're ready to start implementing your plan, when you feel like you're ready to start, staying the course. That's really the best thing you can do, is just to take a break.
Thank you, James. Okay. So the next question I would like to ask you is like, especially this is for our listeners who are new to trading. Okay. What does it take to develop that trading mindset that we can't be you in like a year or something? Okay, you have years of experience doing this. Okay, so what do you have the best recommendations or the suggestions you can give to develop the trading mindset?
Um, the biggest thing that I can recommend, honestly, is like when you keep everything else in your life, kind of, planned, organized, just keeping your life outside of trading organized, fulfilled, etc. If you're in a bad financial position, in real life outside of your trading account, maybe that's not a good time to be trading, because again, if you're in a bad financial position, all you're going to be really thinking about while you're trading is making money. And like, while money will come, and money will come over time, you're going to push it to come faster, which is going to lead you to making bad risk decisions. And next thing you know, you're going to blow your account. So it's really comes down to, I think, just having your whole life kind of, you don't have to have your life all figured out by any means, like in terms of that, but you know what I mean. And keep your,
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's, you just want to keep your life organized. If you work out, if you do any kind of workouts or something like that, keep that consistency in your life with whatever you're doing outside of trading will get back to your trading one way or another. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, you will start doing, things a little bit more disciplined in terms of, in your trading path. Let's just say, one week you decide, hey, I'm going to go to the gym. When you go to the gym, or you work out, you're disciplined, you're keeping yourself in the same game plan daily, or by, every other day, however often you do it. And the same thing will come into trading. You'll get into a trade at the spot that you want to get in, because that price that you're getting in at is the right entry, or the best entry you possibly can get in at. Things like that, like little things like, making sure the house is clean, little things like that will
that's a
follow through.
great way of putting it in, James. Okay, like most of us have probably never thought of it in this manner, but like you just nailed it, I would say. Okay, that putting that
Yeah.
long-term perspective, putting that consistency in life or stability in life, I think that's a proper word,
Yeah.
okay, is very important. That's a great, great
Yeah.
suggestion for our listeners in Traders Hub Ninja.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yep.
it's really comes down to, like, if your life outside of trading is fulfilled, is in place, in line, everything else will fall into place when it comes to trading them, because you'll listen to your rules. You're already consistent in outside of trading life stuff. Once you get into trading, it's going to translate over. So, making sure that you're just, you can't be lazy, you can't slouch off, or slack off rather, outside of trading, because it'll come in with your trading, involuntarily, and probably unnoticeable to you. But over time, as you diagnose, your losses, your wins, look over your statistics, you'll notice that, like, weeks where you were lazy are also most likely going to be weeks where you had bad weeks in trading, because it all rolls together. It Trading becomes your life in a way, so you got to treat it with the same consistency you treat your life.
Exactly. And trading itself can be stressful at times. So if you're bringing like additional emotional baggage or stress to it,
Mm-hmm.
okay, from outside factors, that definitely impacts not only your trading, but your mental health to a large extent.
Absolutely, for
Yeah, it
sure.
can be very emotionally draining. I think that's something that we never consider, we just look at the profits. We think like, yep, people like James is so successful. Okay, he or that person I saw on YouTube is so successful. But then again, we all need to think that it took a lot of hard work, a lot of grinding to get to that place.
Oh yeah, yeah. I lost a lot, I lost a lot of money leading up to this. I'm finally getting to the point where I'm starting to get close to break even, or a little bit further. So it's been a journey. I'm very happy with where I'm at right now because I feel like everything's starting to click. But it hasn't always been this way. I mean, this took almost 4 years. People expect to get into trading and be a millionaire within 3 months. It's like it just doesn't work like that.
Well, think of it, if you go to college, right? It takes minimum 4 years to get a degree, right?
Yep.
Yep. So, I mean, we should look at it from that perspective.
Sure.
And the other thing that we should also consider is like the market is not going anywhere, right? Like this is something that I personally learned from you, and I'm very grateful for it, right? Not to rush in a trade. Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, the moment you can take out the fear of missing out or FOMO, I think that really impacts. Okay. And that brings me to another question, James. How would you say that when should a trader or how a trader should find the right balance between emotions and analytical thinking or analysis to be successful in trading?
Yeah. I will admit it is tough, to find the happy balance between, obviously technical trading and then also balancing, like you said, the emotions. I think the only thing you can really do to help balance that is again when it comes down to risk, what you're risking. When you get into a trade, you get into it because you have a plan, whether it's, let's just say, X stock has a bull flag formation, a very bullish formation. You get into that trade thinking, well, it's got to be bullish, it's got to go up. um so when you hop into that trade, you need to hop in with the risk proper, so maybe hop in with 5% to 10% of the account like normal. But then you have to have a designated, stop. What you need to have a backup plan in terms of what happens when that bull flag fails, what happens when the buyers don't follow through on that bull flag. What's the next spot below that would be a good spot to cut it if we broke down below that. It's the same thing for the upside. Where is my exit? But you always, no matter what, if your indicators, if everything you're looking at technical wise is saying that the stock is going to go down, but there's a bull flag, you need to find that happy balance of being realistic and cutting, and again living to trade another day. That's the biggest thing. And I really push everyone to think about that the next time that they see their account starting to go red or see a trade starting to go in the red direction. Start to really think like, live to trade another day. Ingrain that in your head, because when it starts to go red and you see that 10% loss, 15% loss, maybe at that point, maybe your plan was wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. We're not all perfect. Most of us
True.
have a sub 80%, sub 75% win rate. It's not about winning them all. It's just about winning more than you lose.
Very true and very well said. Okay. So that is very, very well said. And the other thing is like, I think there is no substitute of screen time. Okay. Like the amount of time we look at the screen, okay, try to analyze the trade, that really helps. Okay. At Traders Hub Ninja, there are lots of great resources to help to get going with that. Okay. To learn the basics, okay, to have the indicators in that. But then again, like the actual screen time, there is no replacement for that. So can we have your opinion on that, James?
Yeah, you mean as far as screen time?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right, and you hit the nail on the head there. There's no replacement for screen time. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't just expect to hop into the market. Open up your Thinkorswim, Webull, Robinhood, whatever app you use for futures trading, Ninja Trader. Forex, it's a MetaTrader, any of that. You can't expect to open up your trading app and just hop right back into or hop into a play without having proper screen time, beforehand. Not only the day that you're planning to place trades, you should be looking at the screen, planning out your trade before you even take it, before you even consider taking it, but also, at night, when the markets are closed, or regular markets are closed, you should be studying these charts, seeing why what happened, and not just hopping in blindly. At the end of the day, screen time is super valuable and it only comes with time. Um, but eventually you'll get to the point where it's just second nature. You'll see stuff, you'll hop into the charts, you'll be able to plot your support and resistance signs, you'll be able to see the breaks, spot these trend lines, the patterns, etc. Everything will start to come naturally.
It's like a muscle memory.
It is, but the only way you can get it is with screen time. You have to put in screen time. Now, I'm not saying you have to look at charts every single day, all day long, but you should set aside some time, if not daily, like every other day or so, to just really look over the market and diagnose, analyze everything. Because believe it or not, technical analysis is a huge part. There's news. Oh, hold on a second.
Sure. So just to
Okay.
fill up on that, okay, we do have some great resources, okay, indicators, videos on technical analysis in Traders Hub Ninja. So please feel free to enjoy the full benefits of those.
Right, hold on a second. My
Sure.
son's here.
Yeah.
Jessica, can you go with mommy real quick?
No, I don't want to.
I think we can hear a future trader right there.
Yep, this is my son Jasper. He's here with his cars, his shoes, and his phone, listening in.
And I'm sure he's getting great advice from his dad. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, James, for being with us tonight. Okay. And saying your words of wisdom for our listeners. Okay. And any final words for our listeners in Traders Hub Ninja?
Oh, my apologies. I had muted myself so you can hear my kiddo. Jasper,
Okay.
here, go with mommy real quick. Can you go to mommy real quick? Go show mommy the bird. He's silly. Anyways, all right. Please excuse my kiddo here real quick. But
Hey,
anyways,
absolutely, it's fine. Okay, we all
yeah,
have kids, yeah. So any
no,
final words for our listeners in Traders Hub Ninja?
yeah. So I mean, the biggest thing, that I want to just leave you guys all on is, at the end of the day, patience is king. Patience and compounding, guys. When it comes to trading, we don't have to hit again those 100%ers, 200%ers every single day. They'll come and go. You'll have a day where you'll get one. You'll have a day where you lose one. So they come and go. The biggest thing is, let's compound those gains, 5, 10, 15%. Learn to fall in love with taking those gains, because over time they will add up. And again, with the emotional aspect of this, try again to keep everything outside of trading life, complete, fulfilled. Make sure that everything outside of trading is good. Financially, everything is solid. You're not struggling for money. You're not doing this for money, because if you do this for money, you will lose. But yeah, I mean, that's generally, in terms of what to leave you guys with. Just wanted to make sure that everyone knows, compound those gains, live to trade another day. Remember those two sayings.
Thank you so much, James. Okay, and thank you for being with us in Traders Hub Ninja for this episode. Okay, so have a good night and thank you once again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys.